Welcome back everyone to part 2 of the first element of secure and managed funding here at Canara Community House. So we're talking about identifying funding requirements in context. So moving on, first thing we've got to discuss is where you can find the potential avenues and sources of funding. So where you can find these out there. Now there isn't one place to look. It's one of those things where you've got to be constantly looking, constantly talking to people, and just trying to look everywhere you can potentially think of. So we've got there four quick links to different places where you can get them. One being the Victorian government, so that's got their list of grants up there. Some of these have expired and they have closed, and they just do keep them on there. But it is a potential site where you can get the state-based ones. Now, government-wise, the state's not the only place you can secure funding from. You can get local government and the Commonwealth as well. So this has just got the list of ones there. So hopefully most of them you are eligible for, but some you won't be. And we've also got two there from some of the big banks, so some corporate ones there. So CommBank and NAB. And these are just ones I've just literally just gone on and grabbed. And my first thought went to CommBank because personally I do bank with CommBank, and then I know NAB as well doesn't. But I would believe most banks out there do give out community grants. I think it's Bendigo Bank really sort of promote the fact they are a community organisation and a community bank. So there's a wide range of ones out there. And philanthropy.org it's a site all about the sort of fundraising charities and all that, and they've actually got a pretty decent list of things you can try to seek funding. It's pretty good, so do have a look at that. I know the first two, not the first two, sorry, so the Vic government one and the philanthropy are on the Moodle. The two bank ones aren't, but it's literally a case of you can put in just CommBank grants, NAB grants, probably Westpac as well, Bendigo Bank, anyone you want. Just quick Google search for it, and you should be able to find it. And as I said, these aren't just all that's out there. So in class, we are going to have a bit of a discussion, work out ways other people do have a look at them, and what sort of strategies they have to find them to make sure they know about them with plenty of time to apply. Bit hard to do that when it's just me, however. So next up, move on to researching and gathering information on these potential sources. So I've got 3 quick questions there, which you do have to consider when you're trying to find and you're trying to evaluate how good these sources are. So first up, so what information is it vital to know about the potential sources? So what should you know about the funding source when you're applying for it? What could their motivations be? So obviously the government does have the benefits of the community at stake, but even that, it's a case of, okay, well, this government's giving out a grant for this. Why are they doing it? What benefit do they get out from it? Okay. So that's information is vital to know. Where do they get their money from to fund it? What are their goals? So what information is good to know about the potential sources? So it's the things you might want to know, but it's not necessary to know to be able to evaluate how good it is. So it's like, do they constantly give out grants? That's good to know, whereas something which is vital to know is what's their financial viability. So obviously the big banks you can bank on, pun intended, you can bank on them being able to provide the funding, where if it's a small organisation, small corporate grant you're going for, are they actually going to be able to provide that funding for you? And not just now, but potentially in the future. So that's sort of a bit of the difference between what's vital and what's good to know about them. But what you also need to know is, where can you find this information? are they going to be able to just provide it on, say, their website? Or are you going to have to dig deeper? Are you going to have to do Google searches, speak to contacts and associates about what they know about the company, what they know about the grant, all those sorts of things. So we've got a bit of a quick example here. Okay, so it's just the CommBank one. So I'm just going to open this up. So it's just quick to go through and have a look and see what exactly information they've got on their page. So as we can see that the grants are closed currently for these grassroots grants. But as we slowly go down, we can see and get a lot of the information we're talking about on here. So I believe CommBank does a good job of providing you that information. So we can see over here is, first up, are you even eligible to do it? And how you can be considered to be eligible. Got some application questions. And then an assessment process. So we get all that information here. We get a couple of different examples of who's received grants in the past. Why would that be good to know? We've got a range of frequently asked questions. So how or why they might be eligible for a grant. How they can get the actual funding of the grant. So it's just arranged here, and each funding source you do find will have a different way of getting it to you. So CommBank, because they are such a big one, they want to try to provide as much information as possible, easy to access, so you're not having to call them up. But some organisations where it might be they've got the one grant, they might want you to call up. So it might be just a phone number or an email to get in touch with, because they want to get more of that personal approach. So it's just a big range of information here provided. Okay. So next up, what you've got to do is you've got to try to determine if the funding requirements are feasible. Not only feasible, but sustainable as well. So each grant you sort of apply for will have a range of different conditions you've got to adhere to. And what some of them could be some additional reporting. So if you're providing a grant for, or applying for a grant which will have, based on providing educational support to children, for example, they might want additional reports. So weekly, they want to know how many kids have come to this program, how many hours it's gone, what they've done, and it could go even into more detail. Who the kid, what school they're from, what grade they are. It could be anything. Is that feasible for your organisation to provide that sort of level of detail? And is it sustainable? Are you going to be able to maintain it? Okay. A rebranding. So, for example, here at Canara, we've just undergone a rebranding with our training side of things. So I'm now considered to be a skills first teacher. So is that feasible to go through and rebrand how you internally talk about things, or it might even be an external rebranding? And how easy will it be for you to do that? How feasible and how sustainable? So that one's obviously a lot easier to sustain, that quick change, but it might not be feasible if you've got to completely overhaul your business model. You might have restrictions of trade and restrictions of how you can use the funding. The funding source might go, okay, so we're happy to give you a grant of $50,000, but you cannot then use it to provide this sort of service or that sort of service. It's just a range of different sort of restrictions they can place on it. Another one we got up there is oversight. So a company might go, a corporate company might give out a grant, go, okay, we'll provide X amount of dollars, but to do that, we need to have a look at your organisation's books, make sure you are financially viable, make sure you're not just going to take the money and run. So there's a range of different oversight things companies and organisations will put into place before they will allow you to receive funding from them. So is that feasible? Is it feasible for you to open up your organisation to an outside party for a complete review? A lot will be done sort of with auditing and that anyway, but will it breach your organisation's ethics standards to let a corporate organisation have a look at it? Another example we've got up there is extra training. So if you're applying for a grant based on providing a service, the funder might go, okay, for you to provide the service, you need anyone using it trained up to a Cert 3, Cert 4 level in this this category. So that could be a part of the requirement. So this list isn't exhaustive. Okay, there is a lot more, and a lot more requirements, which you might have to consider whether they are feasible and sustainable. Okay. So lastly, the task for this little section. Okay, we want you to review a current grant to determine whether your organisation is eligible to apply for the funding. And then after that, we want you to determine whether it's actually feasible for your organisation to apply for it and whether you can sustain it. So what we've done to make it fair for everyone, we have chosen one, and it's this one just here. So it's a crime prevention grant, which you can find through the Vic Government website. We've got a link here on the slides, as well as we will get it up on the Moodle as well. So we want you to go through and have a look and see whether it could be eligible. Okay. Obviously for this one is crime prevention. So pretend that you do have a crime issue in your area if you don't. So it's just for the sake of purposes. Okay. To go through, have a look at the whole thing and see whether A, it is you are eligible to apply for it, and then B, it's feasible and sustainable for your organisation to apply for it. So once again, get that back onto the your reflection blog. So we've got it there. We can have a look, and then we can build a much more in-depth discussion of it. So that's the end for element 1. After this, we'll be moving on to element 2, and I'll catch you when we start doing that. Enjoy your day.